Perfect. I've got 2 check marks, which means that we are now live on both YouTube and Facebook. Just going to give it a second to alert folks that we are live so that they can start chiming in. And if you can see us and hear us fine, give us a thumbs up. Comments, let us know that you are ready for this broadcast so we can kick off. There we go. Oh, perfect. Took me a second. You'd think after doing this a couple of times, I wouldn't be so technologically challenged. I see Counselor Scully with us. I think people are going to start trailing through, and I just want to be sure that we get started. You know what I hadn't thought about, Mayor, was I think most people are now taking this full week off for the 4th to try and drive to different states, because I was getting those questions of, what are you guys doing around the 4th, or is your office still open, and all that stuff. And I was like, well, why are people thinking that, when it hits a weekend? And I think it's because they're trying to go on road trips. And so
it's just, we're here. You and I are working. I don't know what you other people.
Right?
Yeah, no.
No slack.
Well, every state around us is infected. You can't leave the state without going through an infection policy.
Right. It's better to stay at home and be tuned into our broadcasts. Well, I'll go ahead and have
I agree.
Get started. Good morning to you as well, Counselor Scully. She's sharing part of her morning with us, Mayor. So I thought that was sweet of her to type in some comments for us. And I'll just keep this displayed so that as I'm doing the housekeeping, people can see that as well. Counselor Seymour, hello to you. Thanks for hopping on as well. Good morning, everyone. We are kicking off the week with our Mayor, Mayor Herb Atchison. As you all are aware, we have Mondays with the mayor to give us an update from City Hall. We touch on a variety of things, from what the city's doing in response to COVID, to programs that they've launched, partnerships that they're working on, or just feedback within the community or in our county that has been interfaced essentially with our City Hall. So that's what we reserve our Mondays for. As you all are now aware, all of these videos are available to you at any point in time. You can access them here on our Facebook page, on YouTube. So if you have people, and believe it or not, Mayor, last Friday I had someone ask me, I don't have Facebook, so how else can I find out about the videos? You don't need an account to watch it on Facebook. These are all public. But if anyone that you know is hesitant to get on to even stream it on Facebook, they're on YouTube. We also link it to our website as well. Please make sure that you're following us on all of our social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter. And if you're new here, hit that notification and the like button on our page so you can get alerted in time. Looks like Parker's with us. Hello to you for hopping on. Thank you. Hope you had a terrific weekend. So before we go ahead and get started, you all have already seen me show up any comments that we've had on the screen and display them. If you think of any questions or comments, please type them into the comment section of this broadcast. Today's broadcast is going to be more driven by any questions that we receive than by content heavy. So now is the time, if you have questions that you want our mayor to take up, or things about the community or anything, for you to be asking those of us, and we'll do our best to get you that answer. So just know that the format today especially is really heavy on our Q&A. We want to give that opportunity for anyone that's tuned in to feel comfortable with asking questions or things that have come to mind. So I will go ahead and turn this over now to Mayor Atchison. You all already know me by now. I'm Juliette Abdel, President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber. And I thoroughly enjoy these live broadcasts now because they're part of a routine. So Mondays are especially my favorite. I'll have our mayor share with us some updates and content, but please make sure that you are guiding our conversation with questions that you type into the comment section.
Good morning. Unfortunately, I'm back on a set of headphones. We're on having some audio difficulties with the connection this morning, so I'm back on the set of headphones. As I told Juliette, we don't have any new programs kicking off this week. and it's a little bit too early to be getting results back from those that we've announced over the last 2 weeks. So my portion of this will be fairly short this morning, but I did want to give you some stuff from outside of just Westminster. George Stern, the Jefferson Clerk and Recorder, sent out some information this morning on the election results of where we're at today. These results are ballots that have been received as of the end of Saturday. 50,500 from Democrats, right at 36,000 from Republicans, just short of 45,000 from unaffiliated, and 570 from Libertarians. So those are results back from that group, from the ballots, just from Jefferson County. There were a couple of things that we received from Jefferson County Health. Wanted you to be aware of some concerns that they are continuing to highlight. They had a Jefferson County Public Health Data Dive meeting this past week, which evidently got Zoom bombed, and they had to discontinue the meeting because of the vulgarity and vulgar messages that were being put on the piece. The other one is what they've indicated is a frustration that is ongoing with amendments to the public health orders being provided by the state that come without complete clarification and guidance onto the changes. And this is kind of something we've been talking about in the past. Even when our two counties get out of sync, we still have the issue of what's the real meaning of a public health order. Mm-hmm. Those of you not aware, tomorrow night, the governor is going to announce the next phase of COVID restrictions. There has been no early indication of what is going to happen, whether we're going to relax things or not. If you have been living in a cave with no electricity and no internet, then you are probably aware that, as Juliet and I were talking about, we are sitting in a kind of a bullseye. Mm-hmm. The bullseye is a state that is not seeing rapid increases in COVID infections. Almost every bordering state that we have with Colorado is now seeing major surges in COVID infections, some as many as 1,000 times what they were a few days ago. So these are large, really large numbers. One of the things that the Jefferson County Health pointed out, a particular event area, Bandamere Speedway, they indicated continues to hold large-scale events without regard for public health and safety, and they're having some serious issues with what that could potentially do for us. I wanted to go back to another one that we do have some information on. This is coming in as of Friday. I had asked RTD to provide me with the numbers of the ridership numbers for March, April, and May. So to give you an example, for March of 2019, we had just a little over 39,000 riders on the B line. For that same period in 2020, it dropped down to 17,200. For April of 2019, our ridership was just over 50,000. In April of 2020, it was not quite 7,000. Major drops in our ridership. We do not have the May numbers. Those won't be out till later this month. And I had a piece I was trying to find, excuse me, I wanted to get to you for the numbers that we had for unemployment. I thought this was some pieces you might be interested in. So what we saw in May of 2020 is our unemployment rate is about 11.1%. In April, that jumped up to 13.1. In the same time frame in 2019, our unemployment rate was 2.6. So we're nearly 5 times an increase in unemployment rates here within the Westminster area alone. So these are some big numbers that are changing on a daily basis, but I think the important thing is we are still seeing pockets within Colorado, some as close as the Boulder area, where we're starting to see creeped up of infections that are tied back to social gatherings that were not controlled. That is, people going to them, not wearing face coverings. The governor and now even the White House is starting to reemphasize the need for face coverings. Whether or not we're going to see a change in that from the governor's office, we'll find out after 4 o'clock tomorrow. But the fact that we've got the Vice President of the United States that came out yesterday starting to encourage people to wear face coverings, which he'd not been doing before, shows you how important the understanding of this infection rate growing across the United States is going back up. So Juliet, unfortunately, from the reports of what's going on, that's about all the new information I have for this morning. So if I'm sure we have a lot of questions that people have. First of all, no fireworks on the 4th of July for the city of Westminster. There are approximately 30 to 40 fireworks events statewide, but not very many here in the metro area for the 4th. And a lot of it has to do with cost. The other part of it is the social distancing concerns with that. So unfortunately, Westminster will not be having ours on the 4th, and we did not reschedule them for the end of the year because we don't know when we could. So if there's any questions, Miss Juliet, I'm here to take them. And if I don't have an answer, I'm sure you will.
Oh, well, thank you. No pressure here. Hello to State Representative Tracy Kraft-Tharp, Liz Torres. We also have Chairman Brian Dice and a couple others that have hopped on with us. Liz is sharing, thank you for the updates. She is a Denver resident, but she is glad that she hears some of these updates because her sister and her family are all Westminster residents. So thank you, Liz, for tuning in. I know the mayor is appreciative of being able to share the messages to all members of our community as well. If you're just hopping on, Mayor Atchison recapped a couple of different numbers, not to be a Debbie Downer, but they're pretty rotten numbers in comparison. I mean, he gave us some unemployment numbers for the months of May and April, and then compared those to our numbers for 2019. He also went back to sharing some of our RTD numbers as well, comparison for March and April of 2020 versus March and April of 2019. Those specific statistics we've included for you all into the comment section of this broadcast so you can be able to see them and view them. We've also touched on the fact that there are no fireworks. The big event that we generally have here in Westminster is not taking place, and to be conscious that there are numbers going up, especially in states that are surrounding us. And so if you're planning on traveling, to try and mitigate that, but also to be thinking of the best way that you can maintain your health and safety. So I'm not seeing any questions yet. If we have any questions, please type them into the comment section of this video broadcast. We did start today's topic by sharing that it will be driven by questions that we received. We were hoping to get some feedback that we can be able to have a one-on-one conversation with the mayor today. So as you guys are thinking through some of those questions, I do want to throw a few at you, Mayor Atchison. One of those was, so last week we discussed that council had a busy agenda. It was general routine things that you all would be reviewing, plus WEDA, or economic development. And so part of that was to review certain projects that might be coming up. You had also shared with us that there was the possibility of office space that was looking to get acquired in our downtown. Can you give us just kind of a quick update on maybe one or two things that were brought forward that may have passed since that time?
Sure. We have a company called Schnitzer, who is an office builder that we have been working with this past year. And when COVID first started out, as you can remember, everything kind of got put on hold everywhere. We were very proud to announce that Schnitzer was back at the meeting last week. As the other council members can tell you, we had a unanimous approval of a purchase and sale agreement with Schnitzer for 2 blocks, 8 to 10-story office buildings, and a structured parking in phase 2 of those. So those are now under contract. We will see those starting to move forward. There are some very specific timelines within those contracts for them to bring forward the buildings. We were very proud to see this because this adds that next piece of mix into the downtown, which is something we were concerned about, but we knew we had the opportunities. And with Schnitzer, anybody can tell you that it's kind of a gamble with whether you want to do this kind of investment. We've had reassurance from the Schnitzer Group that they think this is a very viable financial move for them. They're already here in the here in the Denver market, and they looked at the location, which was very central to them of being able to provide this. So this is all Class A, Class B office space. I'm sure that Juliet will be wanting to get one of the first Class A offices over there so she can get out of her house.
It would be a walk just right across. No complaints. So that is exciting. That's awesome news.
Yeah.
And that was one of those things, we've seen the Alamo come here. We've heard about Origin that's opening up. So we've got kind of the entertainment, we have the hospitality segment, and then we have the residential, both the affordable and the regular kind of for single um, or married couples to essentially be in. And then so to see an element of the office component, it really looks to be building onto that vision that's there. Hello, Donna Spears and Shannon Dahl. Hello, Crystal. Thank you for tuning in with us. If any of you have questions, please drop them into the questions section of this broadcast. This comes to us from Deandra, who's thankful for our updates. She's asking, are church services or events any updates on these gatherings?
At this, Deanna, right now, we don't have anything on event updates from the governor's office or from CDPHE. As we were talking about earlier, there is a new broadcast that will be going on tomorrow from the governor's office on the next version of Stay at Home. We think there's going to be some potential, not for sure, so he's not let out any secrets yet of where they're going as far as public venues. I know he is extremely concerned based on some communication we've seen about our neighboring states and the significant rise in infections they have. You can do certain things even today for church services. It's just not full congregations. You have to have social distancing. But I would tell you, give it till Wednesday, and the governor's order should be out on Wednesday of any changes they're making on event openings.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for that question, Deandra and Mayor, for answering that eloquently. We've put into the comment section that to stay tuned for tomorrow, an update from the governor's office, one way or another, if we're transitioning to another phase or what to expect. A couple of weeks back, we had that Protect Our Neighbor as the proposed next phase with draft and seeking really input from public to be able to guide the conversation of what parameters would be changed, if any. So again, if you think of anything, please type it into the comment section of this broadcast and we'll be able to pull it up. I do have another question your way. Believe it or not. So I wanted to share with you more, and this is philosophically. So right now, everything has changed up in everyone's community. And I'm sure, when you were reelected, you did not anticipate COVID. And so now that it is here and you've had to kind of adjust to it along with counselors and city administration, what do you think the role of council is going to look like moving forward? Is it more of that reactionary to what's going on in the community, or are you now seeing that you're taking on more of that disaster hat as well?
Well, I think you have a little bit of both. We don't know when this is going to end, so as long as we have the state of emergency here in the state and here in the city, we're still going to have to deal with some of the issues. If I had the crystal ball, as you indicated, if I had known this was coming, I probably would have moved to Australia. At least there's a lot of kangaroos down there that keep you happy. But in all honesty, nobody saw this coming. What happened at the first of the year? But I will say, this is my opinion, not the opinion of the city. But we did not handle this as a country well. We let this thing get way out in front of us before we started to react, and now we're still playing catch up. But we still have people who believe this is a hoax, and unfortunately, it's not. With almost 150,000, I think the last number I said, and they're expecting 200,000 deaths by October. We lost one person too many, and that was the very first one. We still don't have a vaccine. We're not 100% sure when we're going to get it. What I did get confirmed in meeting with a group of pharmaceutical companies last week, there will only be one type of vaccine, and that's through injection. There will not be one for a nasal spray or other type because it needs to get throughout your entire body. So the fact that we're going to have to do that and get mass inoculations going on, we don't know if there's going to be an eventual herd immunity to this, but the city council, in my opinion, has still continued to function. Just we're not meeting in person. We had our very first executive session this past week. That went well. We've had no major problems with our Monday night meetings. We've had a couple of glitches, just like today. I couldn't get the audio in, But we've been able to overcome those during the meetings so that we're able to still get through the meetings and get business done. So from the world of doing business as a city, we haven't missed a beat. Within our employee base, those that were in buildings that are still not open yet, and we don't have dates for sure when they'll be open, they're all still employed. They're just doing different jobs at different areas. So we've got plenty of work for our employees. They're still being very beneficial to us, and they're giving us areas sometimes to go catch up on things that we had not been able to do because of the fact that we were open. Mm-hmm. So a lot of renovation, a lot of updates that were done to buildings now with the time that we've had those buildings closed, and much deeper and thorough cleaning, especially for those who will be open to the public. I can't tell you that we know when we're going to have everything back open because a lot of it's going to be driven based upon the public health orders of what we can do and how soon we can do them. But when it's time to open and it's safe to do so for our employees and for the general public, that's when we'll reopen. We're not going to go into a panic and say we've got to get open by a certain date. But speaking of opening dates, I think we've talked about last week that AMC is still talking about reopening nationwide around the 15th of July. I did get confirmation late last week that Alamo is looking to open up in the second half of July. In talking to the ownership of the Origin Hotel, they're still on target to open the hotel there at the downtown in sometime in the month of November. So we might get a nice Thanksgiving. And I've heard some rumors from that group that there might be a new Creole restaurant coming to the downtown. And I'm really looking forward to that because I enjoy the Creole food. But so some new things to keep looking forward. And now with the addition of Schnitzer in under contract, we also have the Thrash Group that has the condominium project and the townhouse project. Those are all under contract and moving forward. Based on a conversation that the city manager and the developer of economic development and I had late last week, there is a possibility, let me make sure you understand, possibility that we could see the condominium and the townhouse project start at the same time instead of being staggered. They are that enthusiastic about it. They're putting down over $1 million just in the construction drawings right now to move forward the project. They're so convinced that there is a market for the townhomes and the condominiums in Westminster, and especially at the income levels that they're looking at. We think these are going to be great attributes to the downtown. I'm waiting to find out if they've got one with a main floor master bedroom in it because I'm shopping, and I don't shop very often.
Well, I would love that. You would be my neighbor, and I don't know if you would want that, but you would be pretty close by. And on that note, you know, you touched on that there's obviously going a market that they see that's there. And I know from visiting with a lot of our realtors, and our board chair is also a realtor. He has a question, so I'll pull it up here in a second. But one of the things I've been privy to is seeing that there's still that demand is still there, and it's moving. The market is still moving as fast as it has been in real estate. So that was kind of an interesting, eye-opening kind of factoid to know. His question is, do you have any type of timeline regarding when there might be some street level, more retail type office space, like something a real estate business might be interested in? Oh, so it looks like he also, similar to you, are eyeing this area.
We're going to create a new neighborhood. Brian, to the best of my knowledge, the space at the Eaton Street Apartments and at the Aspire, those ground floor retail spaces are open for leasing right now. Now, there hasn't been a lot of construction activity on the tenant finish, at least not the last time I was by there was Friday. I understand from talking to one of the leasing agents that between the Eaton Street and Aspire, both of those have letters of intent for leasing for about 75 to 80% of the overall floor space for both of those. So if you're interested in that area, I would tell you to contact, trying to make sure, I'm not sure who both of the leasing agents are, but there are signs there on the buildings of who the leasing agents are. I know that they're working on the leases right now. I just can't tell you a schedule for the tenant finish because that's between the tenants and the landlords.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. And there's some signage that's already up kind of as coming soon. And if you walk past it, you'll see pediatric dentistry that's looking there, all the way to kind of the restaurants and the nail service and some things like that. So hello, Jennifer Scott. Thank you for hopping on and tuning in with us. And thank you, Mayor, for answering that question and the question of kind of the role. So, one thing that we've seen, and we saw this more whenever we start talking about the nonprofit, and we've started a nonprofit corner as well on our broadcast now, where we're highlighting nonprofits and how they've adapted, and we're also highlighting kind of business success. So the common question that we're getting along the way for supporting businesses and those nonprofits is, how can the community support them? So similarly, how do you foresee the community supporting the city in any way, whether it's with projects that you guys are looking at or things that you're trying to get the word out on?
Well, I think one of the things is just what we talk about here on Monday mornings. If you pick up new information, share it. Push out the word about the Facebook and other options to hear what's going on here and repeat that to people who weren't able to attend live. So I think getting back to the chamber and making sure that tell the chamber what you see as missing. What are the things you need help on from a small business? Juliet and I are talking at no less than at least once a week.
Right.
And I know that staff has also have regular scheduled conversations with Juliet. There are opportunities out there. Go to the city's Westminster Economic Development.org website. Look at the programs that are being offered. See if you apply. And maybe it can be more help to you. We know that we talked about last week, the new program with Adams County that was kicking off. And I actually had a meeting earlier today with Representative Byrd, and there's some federal stimulus that the state's working on that you can still continue to watch for. We are trying to be the partners that you want us to be, trying to help small business get through this. We're doing whatever we can financially to help you. We're trying to defer some things where we can, but we still have to operate the city. We can't just shut down everything. We are the provider of core services. We are going to be here for the long term. And that networking that you do and what we do together as the partnerships between business and the city, that's what's going to pull us through this and make sure we have a future.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for kind of sharing, especially the website, Economic Development's website for City Hall, so you can see any of the programs that they have that you may not have already applied for. And of course, to be able to share the messaging that our mayor and our chamber are working hand in hand, that we're trying to do our best to get out. But if you think of something creative, let us know. We're always willing to adapt. Hello, Larry Goodwin. Thank you for jumping on with us. Before I conclude this broadcast, it is prize time, which is like the best time. But last week, we were able to highlight a couple of people that had won our initial prizes for the Westy Rise Shop Local program. The Westy Rise Shop Local program is a public-private partnership. It is in partnership with the City of Westminster and the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. Now, this kicked off at the start of June, and it'll run all the way until the end of July. So until July the 31st, if you shop, dine, or do business locally, then you can enter. There are ways that you can submit in your receipts, whether it's a receipt, an invoice that's been marked as paid, or if you are cash strapped and one of the people that may fall into the unemployment percentage or things like that. Do not worry, we're not excluding you. There's another way that you can participate. All of the details of that are on westminsterchamber.biz. So we've kicked off 2 winners last week. There is a nice photo montage that we included to show you what the prizes were. I mean, these were gift cards from at least, $25 up to about 100 prize bundles that included a night stay at the Residence Inn and, woodwork that you can do. So the prizes that you receive are all infused in our local economy. And so we're supporting the business community in 2 ways. It's you as a consumer, and then us as an organization making sure that the prizes that we're giving are for you to reinvest in Westminster. So with that being said, we've drawn for 3 more winners. So these 3 winners are being contacted right now. We'll take your photos and do another photo montage so we can show off those goodies and prizes. Tracy Amon is the recipient of 1 of the prizes. Tammy Hubby is the recipient of the 2nd. And then for the big Kumbaya prize at the end of the week, it's Emily, last name Krywko. I don't know if you can pronounce that, Mayor, but I didn't want to butcher it.
I have enough trouble with my own.
Right? Like we stumble on each other's all the time. So you three winners will be contacted. Thank you so much for shopping and supporting local. If you are tuning in and you have not already learned about the West UI Shop Local program, it is super easy to do. Anything essentially will qualify if it is a purchase that's here locally, or if it follows the parameters of how to submit those entries into the chamber. We'll then keep drawing through and make sure that we kind of support, raise consumer confidence, and support our overall business community. Again, congrats to our three winners. Now, we also were able to launch our Chamber app, and this is again part of the West Rise program. Now, the My Chamber app is how you find it. You find it on Apple. So do you have an Apple, Mayor Atchison? Okay, so you'll download this. I'll send you the link right after this broadcast, but it's the My Chamber app. Make sure that you mark your location, that you're okay with them using your location. And what it actually will do is pull up a directory of all the businesses in Westminster. And it's businesses that are categorized by industry for you. I don't know if you can see it, but you kind of scroll through and you can select whatever you're looking for. It'll show you a full list of them and their address. And another easier way for you to support local and shop local where you can. And again, it's only available during the period that this campaign runs. So it'll only be here until July the 31st. What better way to figure out if you need your car fixed, if you need to buy a gift for someone, or plan a snazzy 4th of July on your own? This is the app for it. So free app to download, My Chamber app, located on Apple or Android. Make sure that you support local where you can. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. If you watch this on replay, give us that hashtag replay so we know that you have picked back up some of the information and the feedback that we have as well. And our city and chamber. Thank you, Brian. Brian shared this comment, and so he saw several of our owners of several local boutiques on the news talking about the need for more shop local promotions, and that it made him proud that our city and chamber are working together to create this in our community. Absolutely, it is a direct relationship that we have, being the boots on the ground, and city really supporting us on the back end, and just kind of that joint effort makes it go a long way. So thank you to everyone that's tuned in. And Mayor Atchison, thank you so much. Happy 4th of July to you.